What is nothing?
Yeah, that's deep.
What in the fuck are we doing here?
What is something?
That's deep, bro. Hi, welcome to That's Deep, Bro. Serious questions with silly people. I'm Christina Pazsitzky, and let's see if I can turn the volume down. I'm Christina Pazsitzky. Hi, welcome. Sorry, I'm a little slow and discombobulated today. I don't know why. I think I've been traveling too much, and I need to. You know what I'm going to do after this episode's over? I'm going to go to the beach. How about that? And today we're talking about Zen and surfing. What is that? Why do people say that surfing, bro, is the solution to all your worldly problems? I feel like, you know, I grew up in LA and I grew up watching reruns of Gidget. You know, you watch all these silly surfer movies and you're like, what? Why are people so drawn to this? So my guest today is Graham Elwood, and we're going to get into it, Zen and the spirituality of surfing. Before that, though, please come see me do stand-up. Guys, come on. You know, I mean, look, I'm coming to Indianapolis February 19th through 21st, so come see me do stand-up at Morty's Comedy Joint. And then one night only, I'm going to be at Louisville, Kentucky, February 22nd at the Derby, the Laughing Derby. It's a new venue. My friends are running it. I think it's going to be really fun. My husband did it a month ago, and he loved it. And also, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, March 5th through 6th. Did I say that? No, March 5th through 8th. God, listen to me. What is going to happen on today's episode? March 5th through 8th. Come see me do stand-up in Washington, D.C. My album, Man of the Year, is on sale on iTunes. If you don't like iTunes, please download it at CD Baby. And if you would like, I'm the first 100 physical copies I'm selling autographed on my website, that's theropodcast.com, as well as yourmomshousepodcast.com. Do your shopping on Amazon through my banner at your... Do your shopping on Amazon through my banner. That's deepbropodcast.com. If you don't know what I'm talking about, like next time you do your shopping on Amazon, go to that's deepbropodcast.com and click on my banner, and like it just kicks back some shekels to my show. Helps me out. Makes things happy. Twitter at Christina P. I'm on Instagram. Are you on Instagram? I like that one so much more. I like Instagram. I like seeing people's lives. But I follow a lot more dogs on Instagram than I do people. What does that say about me? Who knows? Well, okay, here we go. Spirituality and surfing, and you don't necessarily have to be a surfer, I think, to appreciate the conversation we will have. We'll see. Graham Elwood's a super funny guy. I've known him for a million zillion years. And let's get into it, man. So here's Graham Elwood. Graham, I've met you a million years ago. I would say you were the first headliner I think I ever spoke to.
That sounds the way the picture that you're painting with that just makes it sound like how did that interaction happen?
Well, because you're the first we used to do this dump called Martini Blues. And if you remember
that's right, the Bill Word shows. Yes, that's where we met. I knew it. That's awesome. Yes.
So for those of you who don't,
with
it's so far from LA.
Who else was always on it? Bernadette Balaktas was always on it.
Natalie Gray.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yeah, and I was like the token white guy because it was all like women and minority women. It was like Nadine Rajavi was always she?
Love Nadine.
It was all
she's the best.
I miss those shows. Those Bill Word shows were so fun.
Yeah. They were, because they were an hour south of Los Angeles.
Right.
So you really had to commit to doing, your 8 minutes at Martini Blues.
Yeah.
And thank God for it, because nobody should have seen me do stand-up in LA for the first 7 years I was doing comedy. But you were the first headliner that I was like, whoa. First of all, here's 2 things I remember distinctly. It was a hard night at Martini Blues. One night, it was just one of those nights where everybody was eating dicks. And you got up there and you said the funniest shit. You go, all right, you guys aren't having fun. Let's lock these doors. We're going to read the Bible or something like that. And I was like, what? Who says that to people? This is amazing. What a great job. And I love that you were going to force them to read. We're going to read the Bible. It's so silly. Do you still say that line?
Once in a blue moon, if it's like a really stiff crowd.
Yeah.
Or they're talking or being like, I'll throw that in there. That came from, I was born, I'm from the Midwest. And so my stand-up career, actually, I started my stand-up career when I was a freshman in college at the University of Arizona.
So smart.
But yeah, I was 18. And it was just, but then I moved back to Chicago where I'm from and just made my living grinding it out in every Holiday Inn lounge and bowling alley and just so like Martini Blues was like, this is a cake. This is Orange County. Like how there's no bikers that want to beat me up. There's just like people who are mad their Lexus didn't get detailed that day or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, I used to literally. That's how I made my living. Was doing one-nighters like that for $100 a show.
Wow.
Or $150 a show.
I did not know this.
And that, living in Chicago, and this is in the early 90s, there was 12 full-time comedy clubs in the Chicago area. And then within a 6-hour radius, you could fill your calendar. And you would do these it was through like John Yoder. So you would do these Tuesday in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Wednesday in Dubuque, and then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you'd close in Madison. That was like, you'd get the,
right.
They had a bowling alley run. Oh my God. Every night was a different lounge in a bowling alley in Southern Illinois. And it was like 4 hours driving between gigs.
This is Yoder and not Tribble.
This is Yoder. They're the same guy, basically. It's just, they're both.
Yeah. There's another guy named David Tribble who books hell runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every region of the country has a hell run person. And the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, mainly Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois. And Indiana was John Yoder.
Okay.
So yeah, and God, and you just when you got to a nice weekend room, it was cake because you had just been fighting it out with these goddamn animals, And every once in a while you'd get one that was like, oh, this was run okay. This wasn't. Yeah. I could tell stories like this for hours, but I remember I did one of these things at a sports bar. And it was a 2-man show, and I was the first guy. I was the MC, so I was doing like 30, and then the headline.
The MC and the feature is what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Usually they hire 2 people to do one person's job to do this job that you're about to discuss.
Yes.
Okay. Just so the audience knows.
So the audience knows. Normally there's an MC that does 10 to 15, a feature that does 30, and a closer that does 45 or so. So this was a 2-man show, so I'm doing 30. And then the headliner is going to do an hour. Yeah, in a sports bar.
Sure.
And it is it is, March Madness. It's tournament basketball season.
Which people love to pay attention to comics.
That's what they want.
Right.
They don't
when they're
want
in the sports.
Yeah, when they're going insane with face paint, they're definitely going to face paint your next album.
Right.
So this is and
God.
The owner manager comes up and goes, we'll wait till the game's over and then we'll turn all the TVs off. We're like, thank God, thank God.
How many TVs are we talking?
Oh, 10. And a giant one hanging above the stage.
Always. Got to have that right behind you or above. Yeah.
Above you.
Yep.
So and it was someone was playing, it was like Illinois versus Michigan. So we were in Illinois, so it was all these Illinois fans. Game goes into overtime. Manager goes, well, we got to start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, comedy with Graham Elwood, while there's a game playing above my head. I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. And I was just going, no one's looking at me. They're all going, that's a foul, you know? So I just started announcing the game. I was like, Johnson with the ball coming up the dire side. Wow, he's got flat feet. Nice haircut, you know? And I'm just, and I was getting some laughs with that. But then Michigan beats Illinois. So this table full of diehard Illinois people are then pissed. I'm going into my act now because at least at this point we've retracted the screen about 12 minutes into my set or whatever, which isn't distracting at all. That's how you want to do comedy.
It's ideal. I ask for it at every one of my shows.
Yeah, you should actually have that noise going on now during this podcast.
I'd love that. Is there some sports we can play under your
I love how story. I wish the listeners could have seen you look to your board. Like, is there a screen retractable noise I can hit button? Did this soundboard come with that? So they then start yelling, they're heckling me and they're mad. So then I started to sing the Michigan fight song. And then I got half the crowd to laugh, and then I brought up the headline or whatever. So that's where I cut my teeth. So that's why Martini Blues was like cakewalk. Angela Johnson used to do those shows too.
She won the funniest female. There was California's funniest female contest. And she won one year. And I think I won second place. I lost to Retha Jones one year, who's really funny. But yeah, so that's where I met you. And here's the thing I remember so distinctly about you is that you were the first comic I met that actually had a hobby. Because I think that people don't do that anymore. There's a sense of, well, if I can't make $1 million with this thing, why am I going to do this? And you had the hobby of surfing. And I thought, that is the coolest thing ever, that you actually do something. Because most of us stand-ups, we live in dark caves and we're nocturnal and none of us see the sunlight. So how did that come about? How did you get into surfing?
I got into surfing... Well, I've always wanted to do it. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the Midwest and then moved to moved to LA, and I was living in the Valley at the time.
I grew up there.
Yeah. So I was living in the Valley, and it was one of those things I always like, you grew up in the Midwest. Southern California is this like magic land in your eyes. You're just like, no way. And there's surfers and it's always sunny. And, all of show business comes out of here. So surfing was one of these things. And I think I had it in my mind, like part of me was like, oh, I could never, you got to grow up doing it or forget it. I don't know. I had a dumb idea about it.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It is really hard. And so I just figured, well, you got to grow, you got to be 7 years old on a board or it's...
For sure.
Yeah. So I had moved from the Valley to the beach in whatever it was, 2003, I think. And I was like, well, I had a boogie board. And I was doing a commercial for DirecTV. And the camera guys were shooting, and we were shooting in my house. It was like a fake testimonial, like Graham Elwood, DirecTV subscriber. But the producer was a buddy of mine.
Those aren't real? Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no.
Everything's a lie. And one of the camera guys, they're setting up. They're like, so you live this close to the beach? Because I could walk. And they're like, do you surf? And I go, nah, I don't. And I haven't really figured. I keep thinking maybe I should take a lesson, but I boogie board. And the camera guy goes, nobody ever picked up a chick with a boogie board under his arm. And I was like, okay, that's that. And I'm going to start.
Right. Like a total, he may as well have just called you a fag. He wanted to, and he did.
He kicked me in the dick is what he did. And he pantsed me.
He did.
He verbally pantsed me.
Because boogie boarding, I grew up doing that here in LA. And there's nothing more fun than boogie boarding.
It's super fun. It's instant fun. There's very little skill. You just get on it, and you splash around. It's a blast.
Yeah.
It is a blast.
It's not sexy, though.
It's not sexy at all.
No.
It's like, oh, there's the tourists.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Oh, the Canadians are here.
Oh, wow. Where are you guys from? Iowa? Or... The Twin Cities? Oh, the Twin
Yeah.
Cities. I love the Twin Cities.
I can always tell who's a tourist. God love them. I get it. They're always super pasty compared to the rest of us. And they're always wearing the wrong shit at the beach. Like they're always wearing jeans and moccasins, like full jeans. Like, you can't do that, bro. We don't do that. So if you're a tourist, don't do that.
They have a boogie board with their moccasins.
Yeah. Oh, poor little guys. So, okay. So the guy's like, you're totally lame.
Yeah.
And how old are you at this point?
I don't know. I'm in late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So then I was thinking about, okay, I want to do it. And then I did a couple of these comedy tours to Afghanistan.
Yes.
And I did the second one with Shema Tosh. And,
I remember Shema.
Yeah. And it was an intense experience. Those shows over there are amazing.
Yeah.
But it was a hard, like, we were on a helicopter that came under fire, and April 27, 2006. And we released countermeasures, which is if you're on a helicopter and you get targeted by a rocket, they release flares, so the rocket chases the flares.
Whoa.
I didn't know that at the time.
Sorry, I got to put these on because I'm used to it. I can't talk to you without them.
Do it.
That's so did you just S your pants, or how does one react?
It was my second time being over there, and the helicopter's shooting, like a 60 caliber machine gun is like, and like spent shells are bouncing off my face. And a 35-minute, it was supposed to be a 40-minute helicopter ride from Jalalabad to Bagram. Ended up being an hour and a half. We had to stop and refuel and pick up some real sketchy CIA dudes with no insignias and some local guy who was handcuffed. Like, it was like, and we were in a firefight, like shooting. And then we get off that, and Shame and I were just like, holy shit. And then the next day they take us into a hospital, and they're like, kids, local Afghani kids have been playing in a minefield, and they're operating on them, and they're showing us all this. And then the flight home, from Bagram to Kyrgyzstan, it was the end of the tour. It's about a 2-week tour. We're then on a C-130 with 2 coffins.
Yeah.
And we were just like, wow, like, it's a war zone. No joke. This is not CNN. You're right there, And I came back and was just like a little out of it.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know if I can go back. Cause at that time I'd been hosting game shows and I was just like, really? Show business? Yeah. It was weird. I was very torn because part of me felt like, well, I'm an idiot. Show business is stupid, but then you do these shows in these little bases in front of 35 Marines.
Yes. It means the world.
Yeah. You've done them.
Yeah. Afghanistan, and specifically Kyrgyzstan and then Afghanistan. We couldn't go to Bagram. By the time I got there in 2009 or 10, you're not allowed to go there anymore. It affected me too. I came back and I was like shell shocked. The old school word for it.
It's PTSD.
Yeah, you see shit, and we're just tourists. And I'm like, I went as a tourist. Imagine really being there. And I came back, and I have a therapist. Thankfully, I go to every week, and I just bawled. I cried for weeks, man, because kids burned up, and you're just like, what?
Yeah,
This is
because
the
I'm
world,
sure this is
man.
what you did. You get there, then let's go to the medical tent, and you meet the wounded soldiers.
Yes.
Which is an honor to do, but that is not easy.
No.
And I've done 7 of those now. So now when I go, I'm like, we're going to the medical tent. I'm always like, big smiley faces. Good to see you. Hey, kid, where you from? But then I always got to get out of there and just go cry because you're just like, oh, there's a 25-year-old without an arm.
Yeah. Kids.
25-year-old guy.
Kids.
19, 20.
Yeah.
And you see that stuff. And it's like, it's funny. Every comic I've ever known that's gone over there has that experience. And we all sort of feel similar, like, well, if I'm freaking out on a 2-week comedy tour, what is a 12-month combat deployment?
Yep.
Like in the infantry.
Oh, and having your friends blown up daily.
Yeah.
And those guys and women, when they get hurt, did you ever talk to them? When they get hurt, they feel guilty.
Yeah.
That they didn't die.
I got to get back with my unit.
Which is the most valiant and most correct. You're like, what?
It's,
How are you?
You met a guy who, his buddy dragged him out of a Humvee that got hit with an IED.
Yeah.
And one guy's all kind of banged up. And then the other guy who dragged him out of there won't leave his side. and his hands are bandaged. And I like reach to shake his hand, and he just kind of holds his bandaged hands up, and I'm like, oh, that's right. You pulled a guy out of a burning fire. Right. So you can't shake hands with me.
Right.
And you're just like, and you see that stuff, you know, Shame and I fed kids through barbed wire.
Wow.
Local kids who saw us coming, and this soldier, this woman who's a really cool sergeant from the Indiana National Guard was like, hey, I'll show you guys. And we bring bottled waters and snacks, and the kids see us. They run along the side of a minefield, and then you're feeding them a granola bar through razor wire. And then you come back and someone's mad, you know, that their panini wasn't cooked correctly.
Yes.
And it's hard.
Yes.
Like, we were talking about this on Comedy Film Nerds, my podcast we did, talked about American Sniper and just the whole, you know, him coming back, PTSD can't adjust. And I was talking to a fan of our show, this guy, Lucas Lunsman, who was over there. And he was like, that's the hardest part, is coming back. It's like that scene in the Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
Where he's looking, his wife's like, pick out some cereal.
She's like, what?
And he's just staring at this wall of cereal like, I defuse bombs.
Yeah.
What?
This matters.
Yeah.
I remember when I came back from Afghanistan, I drove to Vegas to do a gig. And I'll never forget, I was in the bathroom of a McDonald's. I stopped on the way. And I heard these two women complaining how filthy oh my God, this bathroom's filthy. Can you believe it? And I remember being like, fuck you. Fuck you and your mother that you're even complaining about this. And I remember coming back and having the sense of, I don't give a shit. Like, what am I caring about? Like credit card debt?
Yeah.
Or I'm giving a shit about a television show, and what are we talking about? And you get really, really clear really quick when you see war really up close. Life gets real fucking focused.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I came back and sort of had to, I mean, I was making then I was
we're
like,
comics. We're not even soldiers. Listen how we're talking.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We didn't see one of our friends get blown away.
No.
Like the other comic didn't take one in the face.
Friends for
You know,
years. Yeah.
Friends for years. You went through boot camp, you know, like some intense experience together, and I was at their wedding and now they're dead or whatever. And so so I came back and was like, you know, I was just hosting game shows, and then the game shows went away and everything was being replaced by reality TV. And I remember my host agent, who's a really good guy, goes, Graham, you know, I remember he goes, I got you this audition at E. And I said, oh, great, cool. Because, you know, you got to pay your bills.
Of course.
But then he said, but I got to be honest, it was hard to get you in there. And I go, why? He goes, because the woman at E goes, we love Graham. He's funny, but I always feel like he doesn't care. And I was like, because I don't. I don't give a shit about E at all. Not in the least. They want to pay me, I'll do it. And I'll be funny on camera. And he goes, Graham, you come on. I go, look. And his name was John. I go, John. He had the best name ever. His name was John Paradise. I go, you know, you sound like a 60s TV detective, right?
That's your agent's name?
That was his agent. Yeah.
I had a guy named Steve Stevens. He was my first.
Steve Stevens in the mornings. Stevie's on the ones and twos. Steve Stevens and Duckface was his co-host.
Right.
Or like,
Yeah. No, but his dad was Steve Stevens Sr. He was a junior. Even worse. Fucking showbiz names.
Oh.
So he's telling you, so your agent's like, you got to get serious.
You got to get serious.
Pop culture and the Kardashians.
I go, okay, John, look, John, I won't make you look bad. I'll go do a good job. I'll go in there.
Sure.
And you know, the next time I'm in Iraq shaking a wounded soldier's hand, I'll try to keep up with the Kardashians. And he just laughs and goes, Graham. And I was like, John, don't worry. I'm not going to shit the bed on this. But that was sort of my attitude, was like, and I was trying to get this documentary about my first time over there getting made called Afghanistan. And that was taking like years to get made because we didn't have any money. And so I was living at the beach and it was hard to give a shit about anything. And then a buddy of mine that I'd known for years, he went back to college in his 30s.
Fuck, that's my dream, man.
Right?
What a great idea. We all should.
And he'd like either finished his first year or maybe was even graduating or something. And he goes, look, a present to myself is I want to take surf lessons. Let's do them together. I said, I'm in.
Nice.
And that was Memorial Day weekend of 2006. So a month after the helicopter shootout and everything. And I just was like, I literally, I mean, no pun intended, I immersed myself in surfing because the ocean, I mean, they've done studies like I'm quoting a bunch of science I don't remember correctly, so I'm going to sound like an idiot, but there's a certain, like, the positive ions in salt water help, whatever, it balances you out. Like there's a chemical reaction, a biological reaction that happens in salt water.
I believe it.
And the stress release. And I just was like, I fell in love with it. And he and I just forced ourselves. We're like, we'd get in the water 3, 4, 5 days a week, splash around, get our asses kicked for like 20, 25 minutes and just crawl out like,
oh my God.
And by the end of the summer, I got a better board. And by the end of the summer, I was standing up and surfing. And I was like, and I remember by the end of the summer, we were sitting, me, him, and this other friend of ours, this guy, Jason Ward, and we were just sitting on the beach after a session. And I just went, I get it. And they go, what? Guys that just check out.
Yeah.
Guys that just go surfboard, backpack.
Yep.
Out.
I totally get it.
And that's still my fantasy of just like later show business. Like I'm going to live on a beach somewhere.
Oh, me too. Let's go.
Let's
go to Tahiti. That's my,
I'm in.
Have you been?
No, but I want to go to Tahiti. Like I've been down to Brazil. I could do Brazil. I could do anywhere Southeast Asia.
I'll take my husband though. Do you mind?
Oh, dude.
I know. Well, can I tell you, because I took surf lessons at 28 years old too, because I was going through a breakup. And it's so funny how people are led to surfing through some kind of tragedy. Because it's something I always wanted to do. I boogie boarded like a nerd. I grew up in the ocean. I adore the ocean. And it's really hard.
It's the most difficult thing because no two waves
hard.
are the same. The size and the speed and the shape of the wave is different.
Well, not only that, just I'm talking the physicality. Like, let's say you go, all right, I'm going to surf today. So you got to get your ass up at what time? What time do you wake up to surf?
I used to be that like dawn patrol guy, but now, I got to get the perfect wave at the tide and all this stuff. I'll still kind of do that if there's a big swell in, but to me, it's more just about getting in the ocean. So like in the winter now when the water's colder, I'll wait till it's warmer, and like if the tide's right during the middle of the day, I'll go during the middle of the day. I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. unless it's like
not gonna happen.
Sweet.
But I see them down here. I'm not there at 6 in the morning, but I know that those bros have been there all day. But so you get up, you get your board, which at least the board I learned on a big ass banana board. That thing weighs a ton for somebody like me. You got to pedal. You got to take it out into the water. You got to fight the currents because you don't know how to fucking get on your board and just paddle it out there.
Yeah.
Now I'm out there. Now you got to turn your ass around, and then you're kind of bobbing and waiting for the wave to come, and then it comes, and you got to paddle, and then just getting up on the board. Holy shit!
Yeah.
You got to go quick. They teach you to pop up. Yeah, they go pop up. So you're going from laying flat on your belly to whoosh, now you're on your two legs.
It's
right?
basically like a spring up, like a push up, like a go, like a Marine Corps style. Like
try it now. Lay on your belly. Those of you listening, and they're like, just pop up, and you're like, just pop up. What?
And pop up, and then rotate your hips so you're now facing to your right or left as opposed to straight forward.
Right. And I'm goofy footed or what, I don't fucking remember. And it's so incredibly hard, but exhausting and exhilarating in a great way. Because at the end of that day of even just learning how to surf, you're beat.
You're wiped. And it's the most hungry you're ever going to be in your entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The combination of you can't eat a lot before you get in.
Yes.
And then spending whatever, an hour or two in the water, working every single muscle in your body.
Every muscle you didn't even know you had. And then it's fucking cold. Like in California, a lot of people don't know this, but our ocean's not warm. I'm sorry. Even in the summertime, for me, that's cold because I'm a chicken. You know, the Atlantic, I like the Atlantic, like Florida ocean, nice and warm, like bath water. But so how cold is the water today, let's say?
It's probably 60 degrees, 58 to 60 degrees.
Practically ice.
And in the summer, the most it'll get is maybe 70.
Yeah, so it's not, and you have to wear the suit.
Yeah.
You pee in the suit? You have to pee in it, right?
I try not to.
No, they tell you to. You pee in it
I
and warm
do.
it up.
God, I hate admitting it. I feel like an animal.
But it's your pee. It's fine.
Yeah, it's nature.
You can drink your pee. It's sterile. It has to separate first.
You can wear it as a hat, too.
You can wear your own urine. You can drink your own urine. You can paint with it.
These are great tips. Cooking tips. Clean your laundry with it. There's a lot of stuff.
I mean, what can't you do with piss? Guys, buy this on my website. No. So Now, here's the philosophy. I know you guys are thinking, how are you possibly going to find something? Listen, I'm not saying there's some Western philosopher that has written on it. Maybe there is. I didn't find it. If you guys know of anybody that has a philosophy of surfing, please send it to me. There's this wonderful article I found in the Utne Reader. Utne, right? That's how you say Utne, Utne.
But you got to say, you gotta say,
This is it's an old article. August 2006. This is when you started surfing, right?
yeah.
This is
I've
weird.
been
Maybe
surfing 3 months at that point.
Well, this guy wrote this for you. Okay, so
Shazam. Oh, I forgot.
what?
Oh, real quick. After I got back from my first Afghanistan tour in 2004, the movie Riding Giants had come out, which is a documentary about big wave surfing, specifically Laird Hamilton. It deals with the history of it.
I know his wife.
Oh, really?
We did a pilot together.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, what's her name? The volleyball player.
Yeah,
Reese.
yeah. She's amazing. Gabrielle Reese.
Yeah, gorgeous and so nice, so normal.
And I came back from my first Afghanistan trip and was, freaked out for all those reasons we talked about. And my buddy goes, go see Riding Giants and go watch it live. Or see it in the theater. Don't rent it. Watch on the big screen. And I was like, oh. And that gets into the philosophy and the soul of it.
And
too.
you were like, bro.
I'm in.
Can I tell you, I saw this documentary, All This Mayhem, about the Pappas brothers, the skateboarders. And when I watch people skateboard and do that half pipe stuff, that vert thing, I'm like, oh, if I want that. I wish I could have done that. I wish in the 80s they'd encourage little girls more to do that, because I would have.
Right.
Oh, I love it. There's something in that energy. And what is that energy? So this is this fantastic article. This guy says, I remember listening to a Dharma talk 5 years ago. Oh, a Dharma talk. I thought the guy's name was Dharma. I remember listening.
Johnny Dharma.
That was your other agent.
Steve Namaste. We're hanging.
Steve, coming at you. Steve Namaste and Johnny Dharma. I remember listening to a Dharma talk 5 years ago by one of my favorite teachers, Ajahn Amaro, a witty British monk in the Thai forest tradition who lives in a humble hut in the Mendocino forests in Northern California. He used a surfing metaphor to explain samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death, which we know from Buddhism, right? You're in the wheel of bullshit. That's samsara.
That's how I think
that's how they say it, right?
Dalai Lama says the wheel of bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, This is my Buddhist game show. Let's spin the wheel of bullshit.
You're in it. The veil's dropped. You want stuff, you get stuff. Stuff doesn't make you happy. You have the stuff, you're happy for a little bit, and then the stuff goes away.
The grand prize is enlightenment. That's right, Johnny.
Exactly.
Johnny Dharma.
Exactly.
Tell them what they've won.
Nirvana. Okay. So he used the surfing metaphor to explain samsara. The Ajahn laughed as he talked about the ridiculousness of surfers. This is funny. They struggle to paddle through the crashing surf in search of their perfect wave. But when they finally catch one, they get a fleeting rush of adrenaline, get shoved underwater, come up breathless, and then struggle to get back out again for another round. This, he said, is dukkha. I don't know how to say it. Dukkha. Do you know how to say it? I know that I
see the word.
Dukkha, suffering. He says this is the essence of all suffering. This is the essence of what we're trying to get away from.
This, he said, is dukkha suffering.
Dukkha is dukkha. I know. I said the word before on this show. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But in essence, it's lunacy. He says that we are addicted to the emotional patterns that continually pound us down. We chase after them for a fleeting rush, but that rush is never quite enough. But then he goes on to say, as a Buddhist surfer, I would like to suggest another lesson we can glean from the sport. So then he has his thing. I believe surfing can teach us to ride samsara, enjoy it like a wave while still seeing through its illusory nature. So on one hand, this guy is saying it's insanity to surf. Here you are. You're like you're this momentary thrill, and it doesn't last that long. And then you're thrust into the water and you can't breathe. And then these crazy people do it again. But this other guy is saying it's not necessarily that. It's that in that chaos, you can kind of see through the eye of, right? You're kind of riding the wave, so to speak. You're becoming one with the experience of chaos.
I would say, for me, that surfing from a philosophical and or spiritual standpoint is a complete metaphor for life. And it's not just like this other guy clearly is not a surfer.
Nerd.
Yeah, splashing around like it's horrifying. You're playing in the ocean, dude. It's pretty sweet. You know,
it's the best.
You know, unless it's 40-foot waves that could kill you. If you're just like chest high waves, it's a lot of fun. So to me, and a lot of surfers will say this, you know, like I haven't been in the water in about a week and a half because I was on the road last week, and that's like too long. Like I just need to get in the water. And so when a surfer says that, what that means is it's not just catching the epic wave. It is the paddle out. It is sitting on your board, and there's no Twitter out there. There's no cell phone. There is just the ocean. You can't even really hear people on the shore, you know, and there's birds, there's dolphins, there's the wind, there's the sun. And it is just magical. And it can, when you like, a thing I do like about getting up early, or at least surfing first thing in the morning, is then the rest of my day, it just kind of stays with me. But the rest of my day is just a little more mellow. Yeah. Because I kind of have that with me. And I mean, that's life. You know, there's always going to be another wave. So there's no reason to panic when you can't get this one or fall off or whatever. Life is up and down. And it is about being, I mean, I know this is, I'm quoting like every new age fucking poster with
Love
a cat
Let's do it.
and an Indian dream catcher.
Somebody's Instagram account. Live your dreams. Don't you hate those?
Somebody's Instagram account.
Aggressive and inspirational at the same time.
It is about staying in the moment and enjoying it for what it is. You know, because if you are just like, oh, I got to get the next wave, or that wave wasn't good enough or whatever, then I'm missing out on the beauty and splendor. I've gone out in the ocean and just had like 45 minutes because I had a busy day or whatever, maybe caught one or two waves. They were knee high, and it was magical. Now I can get in my head and stress about stuff while I'm sitting on my board, you know, and leave the moment, you know, let my brain take me somewhere else. But when I come back to the present, then it is an amazing thing. And it is truly, I mean, I firmly believe with me coming back from that second Afghanistan tour, it was pretty gnarly. And I remember you know, I think it kind of saved my life to a certain extent, not to be too dramatic, but
absolutely.
It really brought some focus back. Not that I was going to come back and I don't know, kill myself or whatever, but it was hard, man. I'd sit in my apartment in the dark.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Because it's like, what the fuck is the point, you know? And I remember we were surfing at San Onofre State Park, which is down near Camp Pendleton. And so that's a Marine Corps base, for those of you who don't know. So there's always military helicopters flying. And you know this, a military helicopter sounds a lot different than a traffic one.
It's very distinct, and I see them here over the beach, and I'm like, bam, I know what that is.
I'm sure you can hear that shit for miles.
Yeah, for sure.
60 seconds before anybody else hears it.
I know.
Like I do that all the time. We'll be on our boards and someone's talking, and I'll just stop and turn. And then 30 to 60 seconds later, vroom, 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 they, you know. And I remember being on our board that summer of 2006 after that firefight with Shema. I just started crying. Yeah. I just heard military helicopters and just started crying out of nowhere. And it was surfing that kind of centered me. And then I was like, that's sort of everything now. My whole life kind of revolves around it to a certain extent. You know, like
fantastic. It should.
And it's like you and I have talked about this off air, is why it is important to live at the beach. Yeah. And you know, I'm going to hustle. I'm in show business and I help run a festival and I got a road career and I got to do all those things to hustle to pay the bills, but I'm not letting that dominate who I am anymore. You know, like I'm working hard so that I can make money while I'm sitting on my surfboard. That's my goal.
It's a dream.
Passive income. Passive income. That's my goal. I want to just sit on my surfboard and money's coming in. Yeah. And so that's to me. I mean, I'm not that great of a surfer. I'm not going to turn pro or anything. Obviously, I don't. Maybe they accept guys in their 40s from Chicago, but
that's when you can start.
That's typically. I'll beat those kids.
You're going to go to Hawaii this year.
But it has helped me on so many ways, and it's just one of those things. Like it just has to be a part of my life. And I've even dated girls who's just like, why are you in the water? And I'm like,
you get it.
Sorry, man.
You don't get it. And I think. Not that I'm this fantastic surfer now, but I'm eking towards buying a board and going back into the water because I'm desperate. I go to the beach a lot. We went to Africa a few years ago, my husband and I, and to Durban, and every day we went to the beach. And I remember I love it. I'm so drawn to the water. We were living in Silver Lake at the time. And I said to my husband, wouldn't it be great if we lived somewhere where I could go to the beach every day? And he's like, well, we do. We live in LA. Yeah. I'm like, oh, bro. Oh,
SoCal, dude. Let's do.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah,
I love that you call your husband bro. I think that is awesome.
But yeah, well, you can. And when we did, and the point is, though, I really don't like when people reduce things like surfing or stand up or mountain climbing, or if I don't know what you're into, art or no, sorry, that's a bad example. These extreme sports, and they reduce it to the adrenaline rush of it. Like, I really hate when people are like, oh, stand up, you love the rush of making people laugh. I'm like, there's some part, yes. There's also the very the nature of what you're doing, which is getting lost in the doing. Just as you said, it's not about doing. You may have surfed for 45 minutes as opposed to what you wanted to do today, 3 hours. Mm-hmm. But it's just the doing of this practice and taking you out of time, because that's huge. Look, if you've ever painted and you like that, hours go by, hours. And what is that? Same with stand up. Sometimes you'll dread. At least I do. Some nights, like there's no way I can get through the next hour of telling jokes, and that's because I'm so reluctant to just get in the moment and just be present in the moment.
And then you have those moments, I'm sure, where, you've been doing this a long time now. So you walk off stage and someone will go, that was so hilarious when you said that thing. And you don't even remember because it was just so beautiful and pure. Yeah. It was so in the moment and you're so tuned into who you are as a comic and as an artist and as a person that you just go, yeah, bang, 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 bang. And the whole crowd fucking, like, you ever had someone come up to you? We were at that show 2 years ago. Remember, you were like, salad fork. And you're like, I don't know what that means at all. And you're like, oh my God, we've been laughing about that for 2 fucking years. My husband and I have been laughing about salad fork. And I was like, I kind of remember that.
Yeah, but what is that? So what is that when you tap into?
I think it's what you just said. It's everything you just said. It's the magic of the moment. It is the magic of, specific to stand up now, we're tapping into our talent and ability. And it's that thing of like a gifted athlete who just.
But it can happen. Sorry, it can happen to people who are painting. Even when you're driving, you go into like a bubble. I don't know if that's the same necessarily thing. But sorry, not to.
No, but anything. You're right. If let's say golf is somebody's thing, they're going to have those moments where they went, I just walked up and I just hit the most perfect shot. I didn't think about it. I didn't, my grip and everything. And it just went, whew. And for us, we're professionals. So that's why we're professionals, is we have those moments like a professional athlete, because the professional athlete, let's use the golf example again. A professional golfer has those moments 50 times a day when they're golfing. Where
practice helps.
The practice helps, and a natural gift and an ability and all these other factors that come into it. But I think then you're tapping into that moment where, and call it what you will, maybe you're connecting to the universe or your higher power or whatever you want to call that. And you're just kind of funneling, this is just, I'm doing it without even thinking. Because sometimes if we think too much, that gets in the way.
That's the problem. Your mind, your consciousness can actually hinder. And I believe that the mind is the most powerful thing we have, and it's the most. It can wreak havoc.
It's like fire.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Right. Fire can keep you warm. It can cook for you, and can burn everything to the ground and kill you. Think about it, bro.
That's deep, bro. Oh shit. Right, so we just
digitally knuckled.
Fuck yeah, my brain just exploded. But yeah, but that is the essence of it. It can be the greatest asset, or it can be a torturer. Yeah. I mean, look, I go to my shrink twice a week now, and there are some days where I can see it. I go, wow, I'm my worst enemy. Why am I saying this shit to myself? Why am I wouldn't say these things to another human being, and yet I put, you can't park for shit. You're fat. Oh, you look terrible. Oh, who said? I would never say this to my husband or to my dog.
It's funny. Somebody said that to me a while ago. I was beating myself up, and actually, I'm in a support group. So they said, "Would you talk to your best friend that way?"
Right.
I was like, "No, I'm the cheerleader when my best friend, when any of my friends come at me, they're like, well, why don't you start being your best friend to yourself?" And as cheesy as that sounds,
yeah.
And I was like, oh, this sounds like some after school special. Like, you're the best. You're my favorite, Graham. I love you. Like, hug myself in a mirror, like, ugh, like kitty lunchbox or something. Like, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
But then I started kind of doing it, and I started talking to myself the way I would talk to one of my buddies.
Yeah.
And when I start, and I'll do that, like, you idiot, you thing, and especially show business.
Oh boy.
Because we can go, well, my friend that I started with, I mean, I could list off all the people who are giant famous TV shows that I did open mics with 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
So crazy. Yeah.
Or I can go, I'm still making my living in one of the most difficult professions on the face of the earth.
Of course.
So, and I just say, and sometimes I got to look in a mirror and I'll go, man, you're doing fine, dude. It's okay. Okay, that was a misstep. Great. Let's learn from it. Let's move here. And I literally got to just be the pep talk for myself. And that was a hard thing to learn, but it's really been amazing and helpful as being there for myself and getting my own back. And that's how I have sort of helped tame and overcome this wild tiger that is my brain.
Yeah.
It's
doesn't surfing help that?
For
it
sure.
calms those, I call them the howling demons, and in meditation is that, surfing,
I do yoga, being out in nature.
Oof, yeah.
It's funny the thing you're saying, nature for sure, like and I firmly believe this, it has a biological thing happens. A physiological thing happens when you're in nature that you can't get from a movie or a video game or whatever. Not that those are fine distractions. I watch a lot of movies, obviously, but it's the nature thing, man. That's why I go on my rooftop. I have a roof deck at my building. I go up there every morning. That's how I start my day.
Let's talk about this. So I also look at you as somebody that's kind of got their shit together that way. Like I want to get where you're at physically. I'm working on the emotional, spiritual. Let's get my ass into shape. So Graham, walk me through your day. How can I, the Elwood program, if you will.
Well, I'll tell you what I do, and then I'll tell you what I've learned and how it can apply to
anybody listening.
I get up this morning. I got up about 6 o'clock, 6:15.
Whoa! Back it up. What time did you go to bed last night?
Probably 10:30ish.
And how much wine did you drink last night?
Well, I've been sober for 13 years.
Okay, so no alcohol.
No.
How much cheese did you eat last night on your couch? Do you eat cheese and crackers too?
I had 7 Oreos.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually watching Justified last night on my DVR. So I get up, I eat this is going to sound ridiculous, but I drink a little kombucha.
That's great. That's good for your browns.
So good.
Yeah.
Had a handful of peanuts just to put some protein in my system.
Where's the coffee? And then you make your double latte?
I don't drink coffee. I drink green tea.
See, so far.
I know. I lose everyone in the first 60 seconds. Like everyone's like, no way. So then I go on my roof and I bring a couple of books to read. I meditate and read some books. And then
what do you read? Because I read too in the morning.
I read a Deepak Chopra book.
Okay, I like Deepak.
Deepak, baby.
Okay.
Creating Affluence.
Love it.
And I've been reading that probably for 4 years now.
Wow.
And I'm just reading it over and over and over, and it's just sort of like...
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to read it too.
It gets me solid. And then I read another book from my support groups. And
good. You got to do it all.
And then I've been studying martial arts for maybe 10, 11 years now. Very much a hobby, not a badass. And 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing the samurai sword, which is such a Zen thing, and it's so precise. And so I do that because I can't do it I can do it in my apartment if I do it from the kneeling positions, but there's a lot of overhead cuts, and so you kind of need...
Be careful.
Yeah. You don't want a roof in that situation. So I go on my roof, and I practice that, and it's very much a Zen thing. The word samurai means to serve. And, my instructor was always talking about we're obviously not going to use this, and it's not practical application like a regular martial art. Like if someone attacks, you're not going to get into a sword fight unless there's a zombie apocalypse. I'm ready, bitches. My weapon don't fucking freeze up.
That's actually a really good point. It's not impractical.
Don't need to reload it.
No.
You guys are looking for new magazines. I'm just cutting through justice.
Yeah, or the next Hobbit movie, they all sword fight, right?
Yes. So I work on that, and the technique, there's all these, it's very precise. And then I just, I can see the whole, excuse me, I can see the whole ocean and the whole city of Los Angeles. And that's how I start my day. Then I come downstairs, and then I turn my phone on and start looking at it. I'll tell you this, and I'm not perfect, but sometimes I turn my phone off when I sleep.
That's huge, man.
People are like, what if there's an emergency? 911, motherfucker. What do you want me to do?
Call someone else.
Yeah.
How's that for an
I'm not a
emergency?
trained professional.
Yeah.
So then I turn my phone on, then I make breakfast, and then I get into my day.
Now, may I bring this point up? It's your regime is not totally dissimilar. Now, I start my night a little, I stay up late, I drink wine, and I eat cheese, and then I wake up around 9:30, 10. I have my coffee, I get jacked, and I read Marianne Williamson. I like her. I read some meditation. I like this guy, Swami Satchidananda. I read him. I get my mind right. And then I go into technology.
Yeah.
Meditation first. Get your shit straight. Get your mind right before you even think about communicating with other human beings.
When I turn my phone on first and start communicating, I know it. Even if I then go on my roof, it's still just a little, I'm already like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm a little too wound, and it just...
You're not going to come across cool. Like you're not gonna send a good cogent thing,
right?
If it's first thing in the morning and you're agitated,
right?
You want to be kind of calm before you approach the world.
Yeah, and some of the, especially if you get any sort of email that's like, "What we need the blah blah blah," and it's sometimes when if I do my roof the right way, then I can go, okay, well, hold on, I don't have to respond to this immediately. Let me ask this person, get the sit down, compose the email, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I can just kind of like, okay, write out what I'm going to do for my day. And then that's how, and then I rode my bike to yoga.
Oh, you're good. So you do the yoga. So this morning we've done swords already. So you've already done like something good. And then you're going to go yoga for extra points.
I ride my bike to yoga. It's about a 15-20 minute bike ride to yoga.
Jesus.
That's at 9:00. That goes till about 10:45.
Oh my God.
Then I ride my bike back home along the beach, and I see the ocean. I think this stuff is so like your surroundings, and this from the road.
Yeah.
You get into some town or you're in some dodgy hotel room or whatever, and who you're around, your physical surroundings, the people you're around. I've had to sort of weed out some people in my life because they were too negative. And you know what? I can get really negative. Yes. And I can be a judgmental dick, and that's bad for me. Yeah. So I'm like around people that are positive and funny and talented and I've heard a great slogan, which is take what you want and leave the rest. And I start applying that to everything. And then I'm a lot happier. And, because I went through a tough thing, man. I went through, I had some real tough financial trouble because I put all this time and effort into making a documentary about a war that nobody cares about. And,
we care. I care.
Well, thank you. You're
There's
wonderful.
People who care.
And, I shouldn't say that. The people who've seen my movie like it, and families of military people have liked it and stuff like that. But it cost me a lot of money.
Is it out now? Can people watch it and help you?
Yeah, you can
out?
go to Afghanistan. If you go to comedyfilmers.com, you can download it. It's a pay what you think is fair download, so you can get it for $1.
Okay.
Or whatever.
It'll be on my website too, so you guys can check it out.
But and then I sort of rejected show business, and then didn't have an agent or manager, wasn't really doing it other than trying to get this movie made, and then had a lot of financial trouble, and then the recession hit, and I had this house that I had bought and lost it, and went through all that financial stuff, and then went through a divorce, and it was fucking hard.
Graham, that's a lot.
And it was like one of the reasons why I had to do this regimen, because it was like the demons are right fucking there waiting to take me down. Like it was hard. For the first time in my life, I had a confidence problem, which I've never really had. And it was just like, maybe I suck. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe I shouldn't be in show business. Maybe that's why I'm failing and all my friends are getting TV shows and movies and blah, 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 blah. And so it's why surfing was sort of the gateway. I mean, I'd always been healthy. I'd been a vegetarian since 2000. I've always worked out in some degree or another. But I really I realized how out of shape I was spiritually. Like I was, And it's why I had to, I stopped drinking and all this stuff. And it was like, that's the other thing. When I stopped drinking in 2002, I had to start facing myself.
Yeah, I don't want that.
And it was.
Who wants that? Every night? You don't drink ever? How about alone?
You kind of don't face yourself once a week, right?
What about by yourself? You're supposed to drink alone, right?
With the lights off and a katana? Isn't that what they tell you? Isn't that on the side of the bottle? Don't they tell you to do?
Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
So, yeah, man, it's why I have to be really strict with myself.
Vigilant.
Vigilance is the word.
And here's the thing, man. I got my demons too. My childhood's screwy. Listen, my mother was a nutbag. My mother's mentally ill.
No one got into comedy because everything was great.
Nobody who has a decent sense of humor.
Yeah.
I grew up with that. So I have those childhood things, and I overall, I will say I'm a pretty happy person. I like my life.
You come across very happy to me. You come across very positive to me. And even though, like, the first time I hadn't seen you in a while, and we did the Ice House Chronicles together.
Oh my God.
And remember we just laughed. It was like 6 or 7, I don't know, maybe it was last year. We just laughed.
Oh, it was fun.
And we talked about how great the beach was.
Yeah.
And then we've sort of reconnected on, hey, let's do each other's podcasts. But when I came in here today, I've never been to your house. I came in and you were like, hey, and your vibe and your energy definitely said all these things.
Well, because thank you. I appreciate that. Because I believe in what you were saying is that, listen, we're all human beings, and human beings have two sides of the force. What's Star Wars about? What's the fucking Hobbit about? What's Harry Potter about? It's all about the same thing. You can choose darkness or you can strive for the light. And it's harder to go to the path of the righteous. Yes, the light. Because darkness is all around. And here's the scary thing. It's not all around. It can be around you and it can feed. Most definitely. The comedy club environment can be dark. The employees can be dark. The hotel room can be dark. Unfortunately, your own mind is the origin of a lot of darkness too. And even if you haven't had severe trauma or a divorce, most human beings have a tape running in their heads that is not cool.
Yeah.
And it's either, do I listen to this tape or do I use what I can to transcend this motherfucker?
And I think it gets louder for us because we have all this downtime on the road.
God, you mean the 23 hours you're not working?
Yeah.
In a hotel room and with the dead of winter?
Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll put my shoes on and go to the CVS because I need toothpaste.
And that's your big event that day.
That's the event that day. And then finding a Chipotle. Like those.
Oh, Chipotle on the road's the best.
Shit, jackpot.
Because it's healthy and you get your food groups. And
fucking righteous.
Yeah.
Under $10.
Yeah.
It's a solid road meal.
Chipotle is like heaven. Yeah. Well, it's so sad. But it's those small things that make you happy. Anyways, here's some interesting article I read on, this is another thing. I forget where I got this from. Oh, spiritualityhealth.com, some article on Zen surfing. Okay, so does this sound familiar to you? For those of us who don't surf, what's it like? When you're riding a wave, you're physically riding energy, the memory of wind energy that's pulsing between water molecules. You really do become part of the wave, especially in the hollow. I'm assuming that's the tunnel, right? Mm-hmm. You're really inside of that vortex of spiraling energy. Ooh, I like that. You'll hear surfers who have no background in the metaphysical or Zen say, I rode that wave and didn't feel like I existed. The wave was there. I was there. We were together. Wow. The feeling of merging with an energy that is much greater than yourself, which I think you said at the beginning of the show, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're molecularly connected. I agree. I feel that.
You're riding the energy of the earth.
Yeah. Yes. Bam.
And when you fight it, you get your ass kicked.
Bam.
When you line up.
Oh, that's what's up.
Hey.
Well, you ever been in the ocean and you ever get fucked in a wave? And not even surfing. Just, I love to swim and I love to feel the motion. And more resist. Like, let's say the current comes or you get smushed by a wave. Don't fight it. I remember you just kind of chill, hang out, man. Hang out. Push yourself up when you can. Never turn your back on it. Number one, don't turn your back on that bitch. She will take you down to Chinatown. Right? Never turn your back on the ocean.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's another sort of life lesson is you try to fight it try to control something you can't control, you'll get your ass kicked, you'll get crazy, you'll get frustrated, That's
it. That's the whole point of surfing and riding the wave. Right? That's why people say that, because you can fight the current of life, or you can I heard this on Oprah one time. She said, if you're rowing in a canoe, you can just let go of the oars and let the current take you.
Yeah.
Yes and no. You should have an idea of where you want to go, but sometimes when you're in it, you're just like, inshallah, as they say, right, in the Eastern world. What the fuck am I going to? It's up to God. It's in God's hands. A lot of this stuff's in God's hands.
Most of it.
Except you and you're good. Let me ask you this question, though. Remember that girl in Australia who went into the ocean and then the shark bit her arm off? That movie, Soul Surfer?
Oh, Hawaii.
Oh, sorry, Hawaii.
Yeah,
same
Hamilton.
place. It's all
hang
the same,
loose,
bro.
good day, mate. Whatever.
Cares.
Doesn't matter.
Same place. So she this poor girl surfing, she gets her arm eaten by a shark, and then she's like, I'm gonna go do it again, and she still surfs today. I gotta tell you, I don't agree with that at all. And I mean that. Like, if something takes my arm, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm not meant to, maybe I'm gonna try, why don't I try boogie boarding? That do boogie boarders get eaten as much as
Probably
surfers?
not. I don't know. Like, I've never seen, I've seen some like 4-foot leopard sharks,
Here?
Yeah.
Get your life, really?
Yeah. I was just like, oh, I know, the behavior of those sharks. They're just like, they like shallow water. They're not going to come at me unless I step on one. So I just moved away from them. But if I saw like a 7 to 10 foot, like great white or tiger shark or something like that, I might lose my shit, let alone if someone bit me. I don't know if I'd get back in the water, but it's hard to say. Maybe I would. I don't know.
Dude, bit your arm off. Not
bit my
even
arm
like,
off. I know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, like, really? Is it really a triumph of the soul to be like, I'm going to go back into the same thing that almost killed me? I'm not sure I agree with that. But we're supposed to value that as that's a virtue? Like, she's dumb enough to go back in that water. No. Dude, pick something else up. It's suicide at that point, right? I'm sorry, am I horrible? Am I totally off here? I know it's supposed to be inspired by that movie. It just angered me that she went back into surfing.
Stay the fuck on the beach. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, I think your point of view is hilarious.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
why I love comics, because they will come up with something that I hadn't thought of. Even if I don't agree with it, I'll go, that's funny. It's funny.
But am I wrong? I'm being serious. Like,
I don't think it's about right or wrong.
Conquer that fear or something?
Well, again, I don't know what I would do if I ever... that ever happened. Now, I've been in the water when I know there's maybe, one time a buddy of mine was at a break and a great white breached like 20, 30 feet out there. But I mean, I know the behavior of sharks. Boy. They mostly don't want to attack you. They don't want to bite humans, but it could happen. Statistically, it's like I get a better shot at winning this $317 million Powerball that's playing.
Yeah.
So to me, that story was inspirational because I was like, wow, I don't know if I could, but she did it. She went back in, go for it.
What if she had her other arm?
But I also see your point of view.
I laughed so hard. I'm like, bitch, I told you don't go in there. Everybody told you to stop surfing. Nobody wants you to do it again.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? I get back on the horse. Why?
Why? Horses are stupid.
I hate horses. How much do you hate horses?
They're dumb.
They are the worst. I do hate horses. Fuck a horse. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Well, Graham, any other thoughts? Is there anything we've missed that maybe you'd like to say?
Let me just say this. When you were asking me about like my regimen every day, here's what I'll say just for you or anybody else when it comes to like exercise.
Oh yeah.
Healthy,
help, please.
Find the thing that works for you.
Okay.
Like gym like I don't go to the gym anymore. I had a hip thing. I swim laps. I surf. I ride my bike, and I do yoga.
Okay, I like bikes and yoga.
That's what I'm saying. Like whatever it is, if it's jazzercise, if it's pole dancing, if it's hitting a heavy bag, whatever that thing is, and however you can make it work in your life. Like before I had this hip injury, I would do those insanity workouts in my hotel room because I just, I got boy energy. So I'd like jumping around and let's do it, and then my hip was starting to mess with me. So I couldn't do that anymore. So now I swim laps. I always stay in a hotel with a pool or something.
That's a good idea.
And I do yoga in my room and like swimming laps, 30 minutes, head to toe workout, lean.
Do that.
And then the changing what I was eating. Like diets, like crazy diets don't work, or I'm going to do without and punish myself. No. Just start substituting things. Do some research. And like I read the book Eat Right for Your Blood Type. That helped me. And I've recently been reading some stuff about all of the natural sugars that are in a lot of foods, and the American diet. Oh my God, it's got.
I can't imagine. It's a garbage heap. Because when I go on the road and I'm in the hotel. And I asked the guy or the lady at the front desk, hey, what's good to eat around here?
Yeah, Steak and Shake.
Yeah. We got a burger. I go, all America only eats cheeseburgers and hot dogs and dog
fried.
shit. Yeah. Why are you guys eating? I mean, nobody eats a vegetable.
Do you know what one is? Have you ever seen one?
It kills me. It really breaks my spirit. But sorry, but go ahead. Yes.
So that's the thing. Like, and I really had to make it work for me on the road because the road is hard.
It'll crush your spirit.
But when I eat healthy on the road and when I'm working out, I feel better, and it's kept me in good shape.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Guys, look up Graham Elwood. What's your Instagram?
At Graham Elwood is my Instagram.
And it's GrahamElwood. Look at Graham Elwood. Look at this man. He looks better than anybody else in LA. And he doesn't look he doesn't have even have like facial work.
No, I haven't.
You're how old are you? 72?
I'm 72 years old.
You look amazing.
I just had eyelash implants.
Yeah.
And they're really helpful. And I'm single. No.
Okay. No, are you single? Let those ladies.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be doing your podcast, Comedy Film Nerds Podcast. Find him at Graham Elwood on Twitter, GrahamElwood.com, and look up his movie, Afghanistan. Also, have you seen that movie, Restrepo?
Oh, Restrepo is like, that movie was so intense. And I'm sure I saw that and went, I wish I could have done a show up there.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Felt bad for him.
I know so many comics who were like, I would have flown up there and done a show.
Easy. I would drop me there. I would do it.
Yeah.
I know. It's so crazy to do. Can I just tell you one time? So I did a show and they all just came back from patrolling, these Marines, like just fresh off. Oh, and they had their rucksacks and everything, and they were just sitting on their rucksacks, and you're in this like weird, it's always like a dining hall or like some makeshift.
Push the couches to the wall. And
Marines will build you a stage out of matchsticks in 10 minutes and then break it all down. You're like, how the hell did you guys have a rain shower in my tent? They're amazing. But I'll never forget that because I remember seeing what world they were in versus the world I inhabited at that. And I could see it from the minute I delivered my first joke. Like, oh, these guys had just seen some shit. Like they had just come in from something I can't even comprehend. And it was a slow process of us connecting. You know, you do that with your audience.
Because there's those blank stares.
Yeah, yes.
And it's not that they don't like you or don't find you funny.
Not about me.
Can't fucking... I remember just, again, I did a similar thing. And these guys had just come off patrol, and this like 23-year-old kid, and his face was all dirty, and he's leaning against the wall. And he was just looking around like, what? There's some guy in a Cubs jersey telling jokes?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing for them, I imagine.
And then they thank you in ways that you... can't even put into words.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking gnarly, man.
So gnarly.
Well, anyways, do you know what that is?
What's that?
That's deep, bro. Thanks for being here, Graham.
Thank you.
You're awesome. All right. That's it. I'm going to play a song now.
Now what? I don't know. Philosophize with it.
is Christina P, aka Miss Jeans. This ain't your mom's house, it's a different theme. Gotta be critically thinking. Like you caught up at a cocktail party, on thoughts start to sink in. John Locke, or was it Socrates? Aristotle or Plato, maybe Hippocrates. Got us talking all properly, topically. Just a comedian discussing these philosophies. Serious questions, silly people. What's that? That's deep, bro.
It is the ultimate metaphor for life, and you know what that is?
What?
That's deep, bro. That's deep, bro.